full version and what's going down with that. So I wanted to get his view, and here goes a little something.
The East Coast, West Coast thing is a musical thing. That's separate. That's a whole thing separate to itself. That's a musical thing. When we have been beefing about whose music is better or which is this or which is that
like it's gotten
from
real
the beginning.
Bad
it
right
has
now.
because I'm like a lightning rod because I'm attacking New York's finest. They're self-proclaimed king of New York. You know what I mean? I'm attacking them. So because nobody is separating themselves from him, they still
talking about
how
Biggie.
raw. Yes, they still talking about how raw he is and woo woo woo. He's a representative. He represents New York.
There are a lot.
Every time it benefits New York, he represents New York. When it don't benefit New York, now he's just another rapper. But y'all let him wear y'all colors. You let him shout y'all shout. When Biggie came out here, he screamed out, "Brooklyn's in the house." We don't beat to say why you starting a war. Why is everybody when I say West Side, it hurt people's feelings?
I don't think it's because you're West Side. I think because
they think they own me.
Nah, not at all. I think it's because, Dog Pound video came out, New York, and I'm not saying you was in the video. I know you wasn't in the video.
I wasn't in it. I didn't write it. I didn't produce the beat.
All right, so let's take that.
I was in jail. The album was done while I was in jail. That's separate.
It just, you know what it is? It's New York's visualizing your camp, which to them is death row, which is Dog Pound, which is Snoop, and which is that whole thing. And it was all one time. The New York video came out. Brothers was stepping on cars in New York, stepping on on New York like they owned it. Boom, you come out next video. West Coast,
what about the video? Yes,
it
is, to me, it is the best coast, and everybody in New York feel like that too. That's why. Like I'm not saying I didn't say for me to say Cali is the West Coast. I never said New York ain't shit. I never said New York is the worst coast. I just said where I'm at, where I'm from is the best coast. Why is that offending people?
Okay. This all went down during the peak of the East Coast, West Coast beef. So people were hyped for what Tupac was going to say. But Angie claimed that dropping the whole thing back then would have just made things way worse. And she didn't want to cause any more drama or violence.
That's where I interviewed him. That's where it happened. It was in the middle of like all that. It was smack in the middle of like what was going on, crazy. And I was 22 and maybe if that. It was like my first big interview, and I flew to the West Coast by myself.
Wow.
Didn't know him from nowhere. And I really just went there and interviewed him. And what I got was so crazy that at the time, I couldn't air it on the radio because I was literally afraid that somebody would die. I literally thought I would make a bad situation worse. When my intent was to try to smooth it out and make it better, but he was so angry and passionate at the time that I really felt like if I would have came, put it on the radio, it would have got worse. So what I did is I have this 2-hour interview, right?
Yeah. What
I did was I aired 5 or 10 minutes of it, the best pieces that I felt like wouldn't cause more problems, and that's all I ever aired. So technically, I have this 2-hour Tupac interview that's never been ever.
It's gonna be offered on your site. Throwback Thursdays. You gotta put the whole interview.
Yeah, no, I'm at the place. Everybody's like pressuring me to do it.
You have to put the entire interview.
I feel like now. I do feel like now it might be a better time because I feel like everything's settled. It's part of history. I feel like almost selfish because it's so amazing. I feel selfish that I have kept it to myself.
But now we know Angie basically had no choice but to keep that interview locked down. Going against Diddy's wishes back then could have gotten her fired, or maybe even worse. So that interview has been surrounded by rumors for years. But here's what people say Tupac allegedly said. Allegedly, Pac called out Diddy by name throughout the interview, saying he was behind a lot of the drama, the setup, and the threats since he got at Quad Studios in '94. Tupac also allegedly claimed that Diddy had ties to street and might have even helped set him up or at least let it happen. And if that had aired back then, it would have been huge, especially with the East Coast, West Coast beef already so tense. But here's where it gets really serious. Tupac also reportedly exposed how Diddy really ran things at Bad Boy. Not like the regular record labels, but more like a mafia. And he allegedly said there were even bigger, more powerful people than Diddy pulling the strings, stirring up division in the black community, pushing gangster rap, and all that negativity to destroy the community from within and then profit from their trauma.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons.
Literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons.